Hello everyone, the Punisher here, and for my very first video, and a special New Year's treat just for you, I'm going to break my rule number 1. I usually never share my deck list. So without further ado, Sultari Surprise. And no, nothing is baked into pie. So for this first part, I'm just going to tell you the cards that are in the deck. There are 2 Arboreal Grazers, there are 4 Fae of Wishes, there are 2 Paradise Druids, 2 Anticipates, 4 Runaway Together, 2 Nessa's Triumphs, 3 Lucky Clovers. There are 4 Hydroid Crisis, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. There are 3 Brazen Borrowers. There are 2 Frilled Mystics, 2 Circuitous Routes, 2 Nissa Who Shakes the World, 4 Beanstalk Giants, 9 Islands, 2 Swamps, 9 Forests, Watery Grave, 1 Watery Grave, 1 Overgrown Tomb, 1 Breeding Pool, and 1 Gateway Plaza. And you'll ask me, well, if your deck is primarily green and blue, why is it that you have swamps and dual lands that create black mana? Well, if we look at the sideboard, you'll see that there are Root Snare, 2 Root Snare, 4 Assassin Trophy, 2 Sorceress Spyglass, 3 Eyes Everywhere, 1 Leyline of Anticipation, 2 Rituals of Soot, wow, can't talk today, and 1 Wilderness Reclamation. Basically, the deck works by pulling stuff out of your sideboard, so primarily you're playing most everything out of your sideboard that's a stopgap and preventative measure. What's up, my dudes and dudettes? Hippie Punisher here to talk to you about fun. That's right, fun. What does fun have to do with creating your own Magic the Gathering deck? Well, homebrewing a deck has to meet the fun criteria. It has to be fun to play, as well as fit within your own individual play style. Most net decks you will find are not really fun to play and may or may not fit into your own individual play style. So let's take a look at some of the stuff in my deck that I designed to make it fun for me to play, as well as fit within my own individual play style. The deck is primarily green and blue in the main deck, but the deck actually plays out of the sideboard. Fae of Wishes is a really underrated card, much like Mastermind was prior. And you can actually do a lot with Fae of Wishes, especially in combination with the Lucky Clovers. And Lucky Clovers also help Brazen Borrower as well as the Beanstalk Giant to get land out. Essentially, it's mana ramp with a little bit of bounce, playing anything and everything out of the sideboard that you need, basically calling it or pulling it into play as you need it, kind of like, Rick and Morty Rick, like portaling to another dimension and pulling everything that he needs whenever he needs it. I've added or changed a few things and had a couple different versions of the deck to try to see how they play, but this one actually handles any threat and everything probably the best. There are a couple decks out there that will beat this deck in standard if you're playing 2 out of 3 traditional standard. But the sideboard itself, you don't really need to sideboard the cards at all when you play, which is basically how I want to design a deck, the way that I try to design decks. You want to have multiple kill mechanics. You want to have multiple ways to handle problems. And you also want to be able to play the deck without having to sideboard anything. If there's something that you need that you have to have sideboarded to win or beat a particular deck, it needs to really be in the main board, not in the sideboard. But in this deck's case, everything that you want, you kind of want in the sideboard. The main board is just to help you get there.
Klingon Punisher here. Now we go to battle. Kabla! Alright, so this is a test to see if the video syncs up with the audio on OBS, because the first couple times I tried to record, video and audio were not synced. Kind of hard to test the audio if I don't actually talk, right? So I guess I'll have to talk and test the audio because like the millisecond sync is off. Okay, here we go. Maybe this will work. Okay, so apparently my headset has a major delay, so I'm going to try to record it with the camera to see if the camera audio and the video will sync up correctly, doing the audio through the camera instead of my headset. We'll see what happens. Alrighty, so this is attempt number 348 to synchronize my audio. Audio test. Ran the test to troubleshoot stuff, and I don't know.
I finally figured out what the problem was, which was me. It's between the keyboard and the chair. That was the problem. Okay, so we're going to actually do a video this time. Here we go. Wasn't ready. We have to start over. Okay. Why am I talking to myself? I don't know. Alright. What up, my dude and dudettes? Hippie Punisher. What's up, my dude and dudettes? Hippie Punisher here to talk to you about fun. What's that? It has to be fun to play, as well as fit with your own individual play style. And my stomach growls, right? Oh, good God. Oh, alright. Must eat food. Punisher needs food badly. Punisher is about to die. Alright, so we'll have to start this whole thing over again. Attempt number 5,437. So the real question is that you're going to ask me is, hey, Punisher, how does this deck work? Does it work well? Does it beat top 8? Well, yes and no. It depends. Depends on card draw. With Arena, you get like really bad card draw sometimes, and you die. Sometimes you get really good card draw, and you win. And there are a couple decks out there that will beat this deck. But the deck itself is designed because I like to play these cards. The deck is fun for me to play, and it's not a net deck, it's a homebrew. So I don't play net decks. But, you know, if you like net decks, if you want to play one of the top 8 ones, you know, those are always available out there for you to download, like look at a card list and play them. I recommend that you build your own decks based on what you like to play and knowing what the cards are and how to use them. I always recommend with your decks that you have at least 3 ways to kill your opponent. That way, if they take one of those ways away, you're not tunnel visioned into one set path for a kill mechanic. You want to also have a toolbox of things at your disposable.
All right, everyone. I would like to show you a little bit of gameplay. I have some videos that I'll probably put in this thing, this video. Videos in the video. They're videos within a video and inside a video, inside a video, inside a box. Inside a box, inside another box. No, I'm going to show you a little bit of gameplay right now of what, I don't know. I have videos where I could show you gameplay, but I actually want to show you a little bit of live gameplay to see how the deck plays and how I handle certain things with the deck. So we'll go ahead and go on to that.
All right, so now that I have the microphone on, this video is garbage. I'm not gonna do anything. This brief timeout has been brought to you by Arboreal Grazer. Not only are they good for mana ramp, but they block flyers. Kind of a one-sided game here. Kind of really one-sided. Feel bad when it's like one-sided. Yeah. I got a bad draw, so yeah. Play that, play that. Or not at all. Just sit here. So our next timeout is brought to you by Frilled Mystic. It is a counterspell. It is a creature. Do we like it? No, we don't. No, we don't. But do we use it? Yes, on occasion, sometimes. In this instance, we used it against his Circuitous route. And timeout. There you go. That's how you win. By other people giving up. The bright side of all this video testing is that how do you do that? I can't even. It's like a heart shape or something. Like how do you do the heart?
Like this. There.
A couple other things that I tinkered with in the deck that's kind of neat is I had a deck a while back, and there again, you know, I don't share my deck list, so you guys probably wouldn't get in on the inside joke that's kind of all in my head. But I created a deck that's a Thor Hammer deck. And the Thor Hammer deck basically works with the Orchran Assassin and the Hammer. So what happens is, when you use the Colossus Hammer in combination with your Orchran's Assassin, it makes it a 11/11, and it only needs 1 damage to kill something with Death Touch. And because Orchran's Assassin has, well, I can put that anywhere I want. Okay. Breathe and go up. Breathe and go above. No. Okay. Colossus Hammer go down. Maybe not. All right. So Colossus Hammer is a 1 casting cost, equips for 8, and it's a 10/10, and the creature loses flying. Orchran's Assassin doesn't have flying, but it has Death Touch, and all creatures able to block Orchran's Assassin do so. Those of you who played back in 97, 95, 97 when I started will be familiar with a couple cards called Lure and Venom, which was a really awesome combination back in the day if you were playing green. Orchran's Assassin has Lure and Venom built in. You can swap one of the creature cards in here for your Orchran's Assassin. You put the Colossus Hammer in your main board or the Colossus Hammer in your sideboard. You pull the Colossus Hammer when you need it and use the Orchran's Assassin to basically be an Orcan man and kill all the roaches, or be a Thor and just hammer everybody. We don't need those, so I'm going to get rid of that. One of the other cards that is useful if you need it, and I've had to use it against a couple decks that is really good there's actually 2 cards that you can use to allow you to get through. Passwall Adept can be swapped for one of the other creatures. Really? You like going over there, do you? Okay, we'll put it there. Passwall Adept is basically target creature can't be blocked this turn for 1 blue plus 2 colorless once the creature's on the board as a fast effect. If you have a Beanstalk Giant, and if you put a hammer in the sideboard as an example, you can do Passwall Adept, Beanstalk Giant, Hammer, and hit them for a whole mess load of damage. It works, but not as good as the deck without it. One of the other ones is Stealth Mission, which is great to swap into the sideboard. You put a Stealth Mission in the sideboard. Let's say you decide you wanted the hammer also in the sideboard. Then you could swap a Colossus Hammer and a Stealth Mission for your couple eyes everywhere. Colossus Hammer, of course, 10/10. Stealth Mission, put 2 1/1 counters on a target creature you control. That creature can't be blocked this turn. Essentially, you use the Beanstalk Giant, the Stealth Mission, and the Colossus Hammer, and they're dead. That's all she wrote. But it is also a little bit slower, and it's not needed for what I'm playing for, basically playing against top 8 tier decks. So just a couple different options out there. If you want to swap a few things in the deck to make it play a little bit more or different according to your play style. You can also take a couple things out as far as your mana ramp if they're not needed and swap them with counter spells if you do want to do that. I don't recommend it. If you do have counter spells and you do need counter spells for whatever reason, I would swap any of the spells that you primarily use with the spells in your sideboard. You can pull out the Wilderness Reclamation and the Leyline of Anticipation if you want to, and you don't need it for the Hydroid Crayfish, the biggie crayfish snake thing. And if you do want that and you want to get a whole mess load of life at the end of your turn or during your opponent's turn, I would definitely keep those 2 in there. You probably won't need to grab them till late game, and it depends on what deck they're playing. I don't know what deck it is. I'm pretty sure it is a net deck, though. The 150 card deck with all of the planeswalkers in them. That deck, you will probably need the Hydroid Crisis and the Wilderness Reclamation and Leyline of Anticipation. If anybody knows how to pronounce that correctly, if I'm pronouncing it Crisis correctly, jellyfishes, let me know in the comments on my video or whatever. Other than that, see you guys on the flip side. Okay,